name is Kate. I am 19 years old and I've been living with type 1 diabetes for 7 years.
This is Alexis. My grandmother was diagnosed with type 1 when I was 10. My son, 3 days after turning 6, was diagnosed with type 1 in 2008. My husband, a year and a half later, was diagnosed with type 2. And then shortly after that, my father was diagnosed with type 2. I also suffer from Hashimoto's, adrenal fatigue, leaky gut, and estrogen dominance, all of which are autoimmune.
Hi, I'm Hallie. I have a daughter with type 1 diabetes, and I also am a worrier. It has gotten worse for me in the last 3 years since my daughter was diagnosed. It actually didn't start with diabetes though. Probably about 9 months before my daughter was diagnosed, my husband's brother was diagnosed with leukemia. And he was 39 years old and in great health at the time. And he's fine now, which is wonderful. But at the time, it was really scary. It brought up a lot of anxiety for me because I tend to worry about health-related things. That seemed to even out a little bit, and then my daughter was diagnosed with diabetes. Before she was diagnosed, she had all of the classic symptoms, but she was 2. And so I didn't know what was normal and what wasn't. I remember asking my mom, do you think I should be worried about diabetes? And her saying, oh, you worry about everything. Well, it's like I've been validated now. So I was right once. What if I'm right again?
I have been suffering with panic attacks and anxiety for 5 years. Anxiety is a large monster in my life. And it's something I don't talk about a lot because I feel like people will think I'm crazy, or people won't understand. I put off making this video for a long time because I was ashamed and I didn't know what to say. I had nothing inspiring to say. The reason for that is I am currently in a relapse phase with my diabetes management. I go through phases where I'm not afraid and I can take control of my panic attacks and I can take care of myself. In my relapse phases, I don't take my insulin, I don't just test my blood sugar. I eat lots of food to keep my blood sugar high because I'm afraid of going low. I'm tired all the time, I'm thirsty, even now talking, I'm running out of breath and it's an effort and my mouth is getting dry because my blood sugar is so high.
Ever since my son was diagnosed in 2008, I have suffered from anxiety and hypochondria, and I worry day in and day out, what next? When Justice was diagnosed, he was in DKA and literally had no symptoms to having every symptom you could think of within 48 hours. He had seen the doctor 6 weeks before for his annual appointment, and everything was fine.
There's a whole element of helplessness involved, I think. I don't like not being in control. And I think with diabetes, it has shown me that we're not invincible. And these things are not something that happen to someone else. They're happening to us. And I think for a long time, you go through life kind of thinking that stuff isn't going to happen to you. And they even tell you, I remember them even telling us in the hospital with the glucagon that, most people never have to use this. Well, we've had to use it. If we hear Dexy beep, after she's gone to bed, I get a little panicked about it, and I try to hold it together, and I try really hard not to show her any of that anxiety. But it's definitely there.
I went through my anger phase. That was the first 6 months of diagnosis. I was just angry at everybody, angry at the world. And then I realized I don't have a right to be angry. He's okay. He's here with me, so I don't have a right to be angry. And then for me, it turned into anxiety. Worrying, how do I keep him here? How do I stay here?
I decided to record this video to show people what effect anxiety really can have on a person. I know how dangerous it is to not take my insulin and test my blood sugar. I know that. My anxiety doesn't care. My anxiety won't let me do that because it will convince me that if I do those things, something really bad will happen and that I won't be able to control it.
I even worry if I'm not worried, because I worry if I'm not worried that something's going to happen because I'm not worrying about something.
I fear that low blood sugar in the middle of the night, I won't hear the Dexcom and something will happen to my son. I fear that those highs, those stubborn highs from his growth spurts are going to hurt him in the future. And I know that I'm doing the best that I can. I know that life is unpredictable. I know that things happen. It is a traumatic event in your life when someone gets diagnosed with this disease. People make it to be so easy and so light, and it's not.
If I can laugh at myself, that helps a lot. Exercise helps. Reading helps. Being able to escape into, a book and just keep my mind busy with something else. That helps a lot. Probably the biggest thing that helps is having friends who understand. Just to be able to talk about it, I think it takes some of the stigma out of it, I guess, and just some of the power out of those fears to be able to talk about it. I'm just determined that it's not going to rule my life, and sometimes it takes a lot more strength than other times to overcome that, but it's worth it.
I want to say that I think the DOC is the most amazing group of people. A couple months ago, when I did my video blog about this subject, because I was literally having panic attacks every day and I needed to get it out. And for me, my blog is the best form of therapy. I got so many emails, text messages, calls, messages on Facebook, Twitter, saying, oh my God, I thought I was the only one. And not just parents, but even people with diabetes who, since their diagnosis, worry about their loved one, their kid, their husband. They worry about themselves. Hypochondria is definitely not something that's discussed that much, and neither is anxiety. Whereas with hypochondria, and I've asked questions, people think that we want attention, and we don't. The truth is we really are suffering.
It's just something we don't talk about for fear of people thinking we're lunatics.
I want people to know admitting that you go through this does not make you weak. It does not make you crazy. It does not make you unable to handle the stress. It just means that you process it differently than other people.
I take each day as it comes, and every day I try to be better.
I just don't want anyone to feel defeated or embarrassed, because the truth is, I get it, and there are other people that get it. I hope that there is now another place for people to go for support for something that maybe we never talked about, and it's time to.
You're not alone if you're anxious and you worry all the time. You are not alone. There are other people out there who do the same thing. And the even better news is that you can do this.
I just want to remind everybody, you can do this. We can. I promise.